Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I might a little bit of a marathon to get here. I did have to update my eCam, so that's why the bit of delay. I'm Ros Boundy, Psychic Medium, bringing you the Daily Lenormand card spread reading, and it's a beautiful day outside. The perfect day probably for a walk, so more than likely I'll be walking to my... I'm going to give it a go to walk to my swimming centre because it's not that far away. So I'll give it a go today, see how it moves the body. Anyway, we're here for the cards, so let's go across to those. Just pop up the website while I do that link. Get across to the cards, and here we go. And here we go. Just found my Apple Pencil. The Gilded Breviary Lenormand. It's crooked again. The Gilded Breviary Lenormand deck by Ciro Marchetti with the expanded edition that we have here. We have got one of the cards from the expanded section, card 43, remembering that Lenormand has 36 cards. Right. Here we have card 24, the Heart, with the Jack of Hearts, is our theme for the day today. We've got card 10, the Scythe, with the Jack of Diamonds, is our home space today. The two Jacks. Both the red ones. And we've got card 43, the Labyrinth, which is our workspace today. And there isn't a corresponding to the playing deck for those cards. They just don't get assigned one. The assignation for the playing decks is an old connection that started, I suppose, because people in the first instance way back couldn't afford the fancy cards that were being made, and they just used the regular playing deck for using recreating a Lenormand spread. So here we go. I'll just zoom into those and I'll show our wisdom, which I forgot to do just then. I was concentrating on zooming. And here we are. Respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, trust is gained, and loyalty is returned in those instances, isn't it? An interesting, very interesting theme from the Owls, the wisdom today. Lovely, isn't it? Respect, honesty, trust, and loyalty. So I'm going to put that over in front of my desk where I look at it every time that I glance at my screen. It's a good place to put it. And good morning, Fiona. Good morning, Ros Gurley, and all around the globe. Good afternoon or good evening. Lovely to see you here, Fiona. Thank you for popping in. I realise being this late, I might not have every one of our regulars here. Now, with the heart, I love this one because it's the triple, so it's the three visuals that we see of a heart shape is what I'm trying to phrase in my mind. So here we go. That central one, which is as if it's the heart beating. It's that gorgeous connection through the first, the second, and the third shape that looks like the heart, the outside of the swans as well. It's just a beautiful visual of being in that central space, that inner space. You know, we do put our hand on our heart quite often. Well, I do. When you're surprised, you go, well, you know, what do you do when you're surprised? What you do when you're feeling emotional? You're holding your heart, even if it's not putting your hands to your heart physically, because you can't touch it. It's inside. What we are doing is coming back into our core centre by doing that, knowing it's our lifeblood, knowing that even our emotions hold so much of how we live that we do reconnect and touch that so often. So even as I'm sitting here, I might be putting my hand on my heart, just in the loving care of concern for people. We put our hand on our heart. All of that type of the action that goes with the feeling, and even that we sometimes feel in love with. And you can put so many different words into that one. Our lover, our family, our spouses, you know, all sorts. And sometimes, yes, the things in life, and some of the what we do, we love doing. You know, we've got so many different nuances of how we can express the heart in love. In unconditional love is the best, but we're human. We put conditions on things. Let's aim towards being as unconditional as we can, and be who we are. Okay, that's what I feel the theme is for the day today, with the heart front and centre. Okay, and we have got some comments coming in now. So we've got Fiona has put the numerology up already. Oh, thank you so much, Fiona, because so much appreciated. The day number itself is 4, and we have the cards themselves adding up to a 9, which is wonderful. I like the 3s being present, the multiples of 3s. And when you add up the 9 and the 4, that's 13, which comes back to a 4 anyway, which is the day number. So there's the different ways of combinations that how we can look at our numbers. And when you start to understand what each of those, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, each of those characteristics that are present within each of those numbers and how they combine, it is a wonderful field. So thank you for sharing that, Fiona. And Siberia Cats, oh, thank you. Rushed to the live once I seen my new favourite oracle on. Oh, thank you so much for that. Oh, that's so wonderful. So, hello from Indiana in the States again. Hello and a good evening to you too, Siberia Cats. It's wonderful to see you. I like that image of you rushing to the phone. There you go. At least your notifications are working on YouTube then, because I am aware that with Facebook there's some there's some weird stuff that happens through there. Right, let's get back to work, because what we've got here is a little bit of work, but it's the fun stuff. Because even in the home space, we've sown many seeds as we've brought into our family our ideas, our upbringings, our who we are, and then created what we've needed to. We've planted those seeds with our children, with our grandchildren, with whatever has been needed to be put down as a foundation. And that can be building a house. It can be so many different things about how we want to, teach our children the way that they should go. But that's only our own interpretation on it. And we plant the seed that is them. The same as we have had our seed planted as who we are. And, there's that is the genetic material in everything living that shines its own essence. So we've been nurturing ourselves and our families the way that we see the best fit that we can, knowing from who we are the best way. And now it's probably time to sit back and just watch the harvest, watch the results, and see how true to their own nature they are being. Not to our own that we've taught and instilled in them, which is a good basis, but each individual person is going to be taking from that what they need, not to become an exact copy of who I am, So I am who I am and they are who they are. So it's watching that nurturing that we've created in our family centres to the growth that they are able to experience in their own right as their own genetic. I'm using that word, but it's in their own realm of being who they are, of each and every one of us being able to interact in relationship. And that's the wonderful part about being in families. It's that interaction, it's that growth and nurturing, and just the experiences, even if it's absolutely horrible, because not all families are rosy and lightness and love and all the rest. There's so much of the mixture of the full life spectrum of emotions and feelings and experiences in every combination. Be the best that you can be within how you have experienced your life today. You're perfect as you are with what your life experiences are. And we're moving now to being that is our harvest, I suppose, each and every moment moving forward as the season comes to that time of realising, recognising and acknowledging yourself, that capital S self, not the selfishness, but just to be self, and really glow in your environment, in where you've chosen to be as your soul contract, right? And really shine. Here we are, we're shining, and each and every one of us can be that wonderful product of our nurture as we move forward further into our day to day with that gorgeous loving energy. And the more we grow, the more unconditionally our loving is going to be growing with us as well, to be able to share out and really, bring that potential to each and every one of us as we're moving together in relationship. Okay, wonderful. Now let me just pop over here to the comments again, and Fiona's saying hi YouTube. Lovely to have that inclusion, isn't it? Facebook notified me that you are on Ros Gurley, so there was a notification. Well, that's good. Not always happening from what I'm getting as feedback. There's many that don't seem to be getting their notifications. Too much to consider in the background sometimes of this social media, but that's okay. And here we have the labyrinth that is partly that is social media maze. There's so many different apps and platforms and all sorts of things that we can connect with. This is our workspace. These days, the workspace is ultimately connected to the internet. It is ultimately reliant now on the machines, on what we have as far as the technology. If it went back to full-on manual paper form and old-fashioned landline phones and all the rest that we used to have, or even back to the days of letters without the technology even of phones, how much more interesting that would be to slow down life to that point where it really does take time to wait and have the patience for the responses. As we can see with the maze, it would be many times where we've come up against that dead end like we've got shown here, and another over there, and there's probably another over there, and who knows. It's that wait and see. It's that still moving forward though in that process. But there are moments where we do need to wait and see. Have some patience today in what you're working through, in whatever project or things that you're needing to do at your workspace, whatever that work is. There are different times and places and spaces for each and every step. So, in recent activity that I've been involved in, there was shown that we needed to have a standard operating procedures manual or a processes book or whatever you want to call it. So there needs to be the steps from each person of that process that needs to have their input into what are the steps they do to take in what their next move is. There's things like, just as an example, where I volunteer with the paint shop, there is processes in how you actually do the painting. That's a standard. You prepare your timber. The timbers need to be cut in the right form. They need to be prepared, put together, then sanded. Then you dust off, you clean it up. Then you get the paints prepared. You do an undercoat if needed. You then do the further coats to make it a really nice saleable object. There's just those processes. But then once you've done that, it needs to go to get the final fixings, then the final coat ready to be, coat being varnish, clear coat, put on a shelf for final inspection that it's good enough to go to the shop. There's processes. You put them down in writing here so that anyone can know the process when they pick up and come in to volunteer and see, oh, this is what the paint shop is. What am I meant to do? Here you go. You've got something. So it's steps that we need to take to see we've come this far. We still need to progress further forward. What steps do we do? What is it that you're at in your workspace that needs to have that little bit of an above the ground level type of look so you can see the pathway forward a little more clearly, or stand a bit taller so you can see the pathway a little more clearly, potentially, or are you really flying blind? See what you need from your workspace. I'm feeling that what you're needing to do is have that interaction with your colleagues. Talk about what needs to be actually sorted out to make things more productive in more economical ways, because we know dollars are tight these days for most of us, and yet we do see the the rich getting super richer. Yeah, anyway, I'm not getting on that bandwagon. Act where you need to. Take the time where you need to. Rest if you have to. And have that thoughtfulness and mindfulness that whatever it is that you're doing, bring that sense of a loving energy into it. Do you like what you do? Do you love what you do? Move it into that perspective that you can shift it, that you are actually finding those spaces in the work that you do that you love. And share what you feel uncomfortable with and that needs improvement so that you are growing to love the full process, etc. That it comes together. And coming together in relationship, we are interacting with other people each and every step of our life, every day. What's going to be involved with that for you is to bring in that unconditionally loving energy for self first, and then start to understand more fully what love means in a complete, a more complete, I might say, because we're never fully completed. Okay, we're not finished yet. Okay, so there we go. That's the reading for today. Step into your loving energies today. That is the thing. And I'll leave the rest with you for your own interpretation. I'm not going to expand any more. Thank you for being here and have a wonderful day. Keep being the best you that you can be. And I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.